Hey, you think you get Saddam? Did you get him yet? Like he didn't know. And I looked at him, I go, well, it'd be a good Christmas present, wouldn't it?
Weapon slung because I'm putting the charge on the door, but I pulled my pistol out and I just stuck it up in his face. And I said in English, basically I mouthed, open the door. And he looked at me and he went, no, it's him, it's Mooselet, it's the golden ticket, and he is spilling his guts.
And then one of the team members come back like a fish in the freezer to the top. And Saddam loved fish. And I was like,
Shortly after that, they uncovered the rug with the rope to the cork plug in the hole, pulled the cork out, and saw this looking down on a guy, pulled him out of the hole, and it was Saddam.
But I looked at him, I said, it's okay. You'll be.
Month of November, it was like whack-a-mole. It was like we'd get some intel hit here or there, some guy that was connected. I mean, we were all over the country trying to catch Saddam. It got to the point where it was comical, like where we were laughing about it. You know, we would pre-stage. At this point, they've got FOBs established in various points of the country, so we would pre-stage at these FOBs, do a broad daylight helo assault to an objective, and then that evening we'd get another hit, and we'd do a, ground-based vehicle infill and hit a target in Baghdad, and then we'd fly back to Ramadi and we'd hit a target in Ramadi. It was like one after another, 24-hour ops. We were literally exhausted. And then lo and behold, early December, so it was December 12th of 2003, we got a hit on a guy, came up, it doesn't matter how they figured it out, but signal intelligence, a guy popped up and on a phone, and it was a guy that we had been tracking named Mohammed Ibrahim al-Mooselet. And Mooselet is who our intelligence analysts, it's not unlike the bin Laden story in that there was really one person that had been working the problem set from day one, and they were really the key person for tracking down an individual. We had an intel guy that tirelessly poured over information and details and data and background and history, and had a pretty good idea of how and where Saddam would be, who would be connected to him, and then had further developed how he was getting information out, giving orders out, whatever, and who was hiding him. And Mooselet was the key to this. He was the key courier or messenger, if you will, that probably knew where Saddam was and was responsible for giving Saddam's orders out to, the sort of network that was spread around Iraq. So we called him the golden ticket. And so they told us that we had a possible for Mooselet, and it was in Baghdad, which we were surprised. It actually wasn't far from where we were based out of, our mission support site, the house that we lived in Baghdad in the Green Zone. And so we rolled out on vehicles. We hit the initial target. It was a troop plus, so it was 3 teams plus a team from another troop that hit the initial target, and it was a dry hole. Like Mooselet wasn't there, nothing of value was there. They didn't know anything. But while we were there, we were dead silent. It wasn't like we blew doors and all that stuff. It was a pretty quiet hit. I think they got another hit, and they narrowed down his location, and it was a couple of blocks away. So we moved. It was a kind of 4 apartments in one house. So it was 2 upstairs, 2 downstairs, with a stairwell that ran up the middle and then split. So you had one apartment on the right and one apartment on the left. I ended up being the lead team on the apartment on the right, and I was the breacher at the time, and another team had the door on the left. Just putting a charge up on the exterior door. It was a dual door, so I had to open the exterior and put a charge in between the two to get them to blow both directions. So I'd open the door, place my charge. The team behind me on the other door had done the same, and somebody in there had bumped something and made a noise. So I was on a knee and just put the charge on the door, and a guy came to my door and looked at me. And I'm weapon slung because I'm putting the charge on the door, but I pulled my pistol out and I just stuck it up in his face. And I said in English, basically I mouthed, open the door. And he looked at me and he went, And so he opened the door. I basically just rode the door into him as soon as he turned the handle, pushed him against the wall, and just held him there as the team made entry behind me. Cleared the room, cleared the first room. I think it had a bathroom and maybe 1 or 2 bedrooms off of it. All secure, nothing. Nobody in the house. Progressed to SSE, so we're talking to the guy that I've had against the wall. Cuffed that dude. They're doing a little battlefield interrogation with him, and the other guys are going through portions of the house, and we hear a call from one of the back bedrooms, and it's a teammate. He's like, "Hey, I need a guy. There's somebody under the bed back here."
That was a good one. The night before, we had a hit come up in Baghdad. And it was like, hey, it's one of Saddam's keepers. And we've been chasing Saddam for a while. Let me back up. To Thanksgiving. Prior to Thanksgiving, I get called in by the sergeant major into the talk. And there's some guy in there in civilian clothes with one of those scarves on his neck. You can tell, you're new to Iraq. That's a cool scarf, right? So it's still cool to you. And he's standing there, he's like, hey, Tom, this guy's Secret Service from Texas. He's one of President Bush's private security when he's at Texas. The president is going to dump his security in D.C. He's going to go to Texas for Thanksgiving, and then they're going to take a secret flight over here, and I want your troop to pull protection at BIOP, the Baghdad International Airport. It's like, okay, all right, what do you want me to do? And so guy Tony, who took his own life, after that, took me out, showed me everything he wanted to do. Then we brought the team guys out, and he's like, hey, what can I tell him? Because he told me not to tell him it was the president until the last second. So I devised a story that it was Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders coming in to entertain the troops, and we got to protect them. I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do that, right? So they were motivated. We went out to the airport, we practiced our vehicle lineups and everything. So we're out there Thanksgiving night, and you could hear the plane coming in, and we're all waiting on the end of the runway. And all of a sudden, you see Air Force One spiraling down. And they all look over, and I'm like, all right, I think now's a good time to tell you who's coming in. It's not the cheerleaders. I know it's going to piss you off, but it's the President of the United States. He's going to come serve some food and talk to the boys. And they were pissed. They were pissed off. But then it picks up, and they're like, all right, this is cool. As soon as we're chasing Air Force One down the runway for no reason other than to catch up with it later, And like, why don't we just stay down this end of the runway? We get out. We really didn't have much to do with it. There was few Secret Service. Condoleezza Rice was there. She's a little firecracker. Piled him in, drove him over to the mess tent. We followed him over, surrounded him, and then I'm not his AIC, but I'm close to him, And we're backstage, and he's going to go talk to the troops someone's talking about. And, who loves you the most, blah, 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 building him up. Because I don't think they knew he was there yet, because it was that surprise visit no one ever knew about. And we're standing backstage, and he's like, all right. Hey, you think you get Saddam? Did you get him yet? Like he didn't know. And I looked at him, I go, well, it'd be a good Christmas present, wouldn't it? Well, yeah, that'd be real nice, I think I'll go talk to these boys now. And he took off, and when Secret Service leans over and he goes, did you just promise the President of the United States you'd have Saddam by Christmas? And I go, I hope not. I said, I hope I didn't do that. I hope he didn't take it that way. He goes, you don't say anything to the President unless it's a positive sentence. I said, okay. Okay, good to know now, So he rolls out, and we roll back, and then move on a few more, about a month or so, Baghdad that night, get a hit coming in. Hey, one of Saddam's handlers, we think, is coming into town. We think he's going to be at this house, we think, and then maybe we can find out where Saddam is. And we had guys who were L&O with, other agencies down the street, and I thought, well, they'll want to be in on this, so I'll go grab them. Bring him back. That was the next day. Never mind. We roll up, plan to do the hit, and as we're rolling in, I see some guy walking down the street. I just noticed, black coat, whatever. Walking down the street and went in another gate. I thought, okay. I logged it in, gate color. I don't know why. Went and hit the house. Really nothing there. I'm like, here we go again. Nothing. We call it chasing Elvis, right? Never catching Saddam. And then we started taking fire from like far away at the back side of the house. And I thought, why are they trying to draw us in? Why would someone shoot at us with our armored vehicles from that far away? So I said, hey, I sent a team down. I said, there was a guy, went in a gate, told him to call the gate, and it might have been Chris's team. Chris was on that team, I think. Poured down that street, and I told the story before about They got in, they went in, they cleared the place and found him underneath a bed with a plastic AK. Almost killed him. Had they killed him, we wouldn't know where Saddam was, right? But they didn't, so we caught him. But to hear it later, I think somebody met him at the gate and scared the shit out of him, like they were trying to get in the gate, and some guy opened the gate and he was standing right there and freaked him out, and so they took in, and then everything else was the same after that. But they pulled him back, brought him to the target. I'm like, all right, never mind, let's roll on back. I didn't even talk to that guy. It was just uneventful, but we brought him back for suspicious reasons. Because, well, he had the toy AK and he almost got smoked. And why would you have a toy AK, underneath a mattress in someone else's house? Took him back, sent him to Balad for the other guys to have their way with him, and I went to bed. Everybody went to bed. Halfway through the day now, Hey, we got a Saddam hit. And I go, yeah, when don't we have a Saddam hit? I want to finish sleeping. No, it's a good one. Get up.
A guy went, pulled the mattress up, and laying underneath the bed on the floor was a guy like this, as flat as he could be, and he had a toy plastic AK-47 laying next to him.
A toy?
A kid's toy. Shit you not. And so, picked this guy up. He didn't look like the photos we had of Mooslet. We on the ground didn't think it was him. Whatever. It's another one of those dry holes. But they were both a little weird and a little shady, and there was a few things on target that didn't make sense. And one of them was in the SSE, in Mooslet's wallet, he had, a couple $1,000s worth of cash, and it was in U.S. hundreds. The U.S. hundreds were sequential. So the serial numbers on the bills were literally in order. So like
wow.
00851, 00852, 00853.
You guys figured that out right there on the spot?
Yeah, so the you don't see that, right? Like, unless it came out of a large sum of money that was withdrawn from an institution at one time. That just doesn't happen. But regardless, like, it didn't look like our guy. We didn't think our was guy. And then we'd been chasing Saddam for a year. So we're like, it's just another dry hole. So we drove the detainees back to Bayap, handed them off to our intel analysts and some of the interrogators that had set up shop there at Baghdad International Airport. And we went home. And like I said, 24-hour ops. At the time it was commonplace to like pop an Ambien when you got back from a mission. So you knew you could get 3 or 4 hours of sleep before they woke us up to go do the next one. So I think we popped an Ambien, maybe had a beer or two. We're like, another dry hole, and we went to bed. About 4 hours went by. Our intel guy comes running back in to the MSS. He comes back to where our troops' rooms are, because we were the ones that had just pulled this dude out. And he goes, "It's him, man. It's totally him." And we're like, "What? Well, you're ridiculous. There's no way it's him." "Yeah, no, it's him. It's Mooslet. It's the golden ticket." And he is spilling his guts. He knows where he is. He knows who's with him. "You guys need to get your shit on. Get ready. We're going to Tikrit." And we're like, all right. So we had another one of our troops, our recce troop actually, was in Tikrit. So they stuck Mooslet on a helicopter in Bayap. They flew him up to Tikrit, handed it off to them. We loaded up in vehicles and started the drive, a couple-hour drive up to Tikrit from Baghdad. They took Mooslet out and did a close target reconnaissance in a couple different areas. And what it was what our intel analysts thought all along. He was going to be near Tikrit, near Samara or whatever the town he grew up in was, that he was going to only have a tight-knit group of people around him, that he was going to be near the river because Saddam loved fish, and he had a real strict diet, and he only ate fish, and he had a personal chef.